We will have the ability to use 5 different lightsaber stances in Jedi Survivor. It seems that Respawn have built upon the successful Dark Souls inspired combat from Fallen Order and built layers on top of its robust foundation. The first game allowed you to use just 2 different lightsaber stances, being the traditional single blade stance as well as the double bladed approach that Darth Maul famously uses. Survivor boasts 3 additional combat stances which will now enable us to adapt to different playstyles depending on our mood or the enemy that's in front of us. The first new stance that they have implemented is the twin blade. This stance is where you hold 2 separate lightsabers in either hand and was actually planned to be integrated into Jedi Fallen Order. However, due to time constraints, it never made the final cut, but they did sneak it into one of the animations. Here they have finished what they started and expanded it into its own style. The design director described the twin blade stance as being more technical than the original 2. You'll be able to deal out more damage and strike your enemies at a greater speed, but this in turn will leave you open to more incoming attacks. It is also the only stance that enables you to dodge in the middle of your attack animations. All the other styles take the Dark Souls approach where you can only use mobility after your attack animation goes through, whereas here you'll be able to evade and dodge out of the way if your reaction times are good enough. The next new stance is called the Crossguard stance, where you will use a lightsaber that takes a similar form to the one that Kylo Ren uses. This will be the greatsword-esque stance in game where you will be able to deal the most damage, but your strikes will be the slowest and with the least amount of range. It's described as being one of the hardest stances to master and is extremely high risk, high reward. One that will most likely be used against a singular enemy in scenarios such as boss fights, but its use would be more limited in combat where you're taking on multiple droids or stormtroopers at once. The stance which is perfect for situations like this would be the double-bladed stance. It's the pick for close range engagements as you can take out hordes of enemies as you spin your way through the battlefield. With enemies such as B1 battle droids able to be disposed in a single blow, there is bound to be areas where we have to take on dozens at a time, and with the use of the double bladed lightsaber we will carve our way through them with ease. Of course, the single blade stance is the stock standard of them all as it's typically the jack of all trades. It's most likely the one that most players will go for during their playthrough due to its traditional take on Jedi combat and the fact that it's one of the 3 stances we start the game with. It has a new thrusting attack which you can charge up, and of course you will also have the ability to throw your lightsaber at enemies in medium ranges. The last new addition is the blaster stance. The developers have hidden this from us so far but wanted to key out that Jedi Survivor is designed to be a close quarters combat game, with the blaster just enabling us to take a more ranged approach. They mentioned there will be a system where you will need to land attacks with the saber in order to replenish your blaster ammo, so the blaster stance will most likely be the best of both worlds between close and ranged combat. I think it's great that they're allowing us the option to choose our playstyle, but remember, Obi-Wan Kenobi put it best that using blasters is
so uncivilized.
A neat feature is that they have expanded the skill tree system to lean into each of the 5 stances, where we will have the ability to allocate our skill points into the stances we so choose, with each stance having their own upgradable skills and abilities. In game, we will only be able to have 2 of the stances equipped at one time, with the ability to switch these out at each of the meditation points. Now let me know down in the comments what stance you're looking forward to using the most in Jedi Survivor. And if you want to see more content just like this, leave a like and consider subscribing. It would seriously mean a ton, and of course, take care.